Okay, so we're coming up to the time of the year when usually it would be the last night of the proms. We say the last night, that's the bit that people focus on. If you're not familiar, the proms is basically a cultural event in the United Kingdom. It's held at the Royal Albert Hall in London, and it's known for showcasing classical music, particularly for patriotic classical music, British composers. But it features other stuff as well. It features Sibelius, Tchaikovsky, and a range of other composers. Now, I've always liked the proms. I like classical music. I think we have some very evocative pieces of music. But in the current climate, there is now debate over whether we should be featuring some of those better known pieces, such as Rule Britannia and Land of Hope and Glory. Um, Rule Britannia is about 300 years old. It was written in the early 18th century. Land of Hope and Glory, I'm not sure the precise foundation of that, but uh, Jerusalem, these are all well known patriotic pieces of music. Now, am I going to say that the lyrics are absolutely um, suitable for the modern world? No. Are they absolutely politically correct? No. For example, there was one line, I believe, in Rule Britannia, rebellious Scots to crush. It's been dropped in many renditions, and that's probably a good thing because, the Scots are brothers and sisters. They're part of the United Kingdom. It's clearly archaic. Um, I don't have objection to certain lyrics being slightly changed to fit the modern period. What I would be 100% against is banning these great pieces of music outright. Purely musical terms, they're great compositions. But I think it's actually a deeper problem. I think this is just the latest example of woke intolerance. Now, people say this happens every year and it doesn't amount to anything. Well, I hope not. I hope not. I think this year has been, with the Black Lives Matter protests and everything that's going on in identity politics, I think unfortunately there is a possibility that it could happen, and I think that would be a travesty. The proms is not a new event, it's been going on for years, and the thing about the proms, it's a very family orientated event, and it is a very diverse event actually. You cannot look at the proms and say, oh, it's just white faces there. Um, there have been many minority people involved in the proms who've went along to the proms. It is a patriotic event. It's absolutely patriotic. Um, but why not? One of the critics said, "Oh, let's perfectly represent Brexit Britain." Well, did it represent Brexit Britain when we had them in the 1970s, when support for the EU was high? To connotate this with Brexit, as a Remain voter, I take issue with that, because it's implying only Brexiteers like the proms, which is nonsense. I really think there is a deep intolerance with certain people on the left. I'm not talking about everyone, but there are certain people of this woke mindset. They literally see our national flag as a racist symbol. They think any expression of patriotism must equate to far right. And frankly, it angers me. It really angers me because all they are doing with that mindset is actually giving the far right more credence. They're actually allowing the far right to claim the flag. There are ugly nationalistic forces out there. I totally get that. But to lump the last night of the proms in with that mentality is a travesty. It's an absolute travesty. And if the organisers go ahead and take this off the programme, they'll find a big reduction in viewers for a start. But I think there'll be significant anger because people will see it as another example of, frankly, a woke faction trying to culturally cleanse us. That's what it amounts to. It's kind of a cultural cleansing. Anything that isn't pure enough for their taste needs to be cleansed. I would be okay with maybe some lyric changes for lyrics that are a little bit more overtly colonialist, Okay, we could change those. Um, but the overall gist is just about good composition, evocative patriotic music. And I really despise this idea that woke have that if you feel any sort of patriotism, if you show your national flag, then you're some sort of hardcore racist who wants to oppress minority people. It disgusts me. For one thing, there are many very patriotic Britons who fought and died for this country, who were minority people. We've just seen that with the VJ Day events, the Gurkhas, the Indian troops, and many others who fought and died for this country. Um, so I think the idea that patriotism equals racism, it really, really angers me, to be quite honest, because not only is it smearing people falsely, but it's distorting the reality. Yes, it's an expression of pride. Yes, it's an expression of we're a wonderful country. We're the best, even. So what? So what? What do you think the French do on Bastille Day? What do you think the Americans do on the 4th of July? What do you think the Russians do um, with their numerous military events? You know, there's examples all over the world of patriotism being expressed, but it seems to be uniquely leveled at the British that we need to bow our heads in shame. I am sick and tired of this woke intolerance. If you don't like the proms, then don't watch it. But it's not just that. I think it's a distortion. I think they're trying to lump it in with the far right falsely, and it's wrong.